Good morning and welcome to today's edition of Morning Transformations with your girl, Dr. Shana. Yes, I am super duper excited yet again to be with you for another morning conversation. Now, I really realize that it is a privilege for me to be along this journey with you. See, you could be anywhere listening to anybody or anything, but you've chosen to allow me to share this morning time with you. And I'm thankful for the opportunity that I have to perhaps influence your morning in a way that's positive. Yes, I really think that these talks are really great. I'm enjoying them and I hope that you are as well. So let's just jump in today's topic. It's kind of a heavy one though. It's all about forgiveness. To forgive or not to forgive? That is the question. Yeah, this is a big one, y'all, because I know that all of you who are listening to this have had someone in your lifetime cause you a great amount of pain. Someone inflicted pain upon you. Maybe they lied to you, talked about you. Perhaps maybe they betrayed you. Maybe they acted as if they were your friend and behind your back acted as if they were your enemy. Maybe you were in a relationship and they cheated on you. I don't know what kind of pain you have had to endure. But what I know is that when pain hurts, pain hurts. And sometimes people do things to you that you just don't think there's a way possible to forgive them for. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes we get caught up in the idea that if I forgive you, then I am somehow co-signing on your bad behavior or poor decisions. Not at all, my friends. It's the absolute opposite. Forgiveness has absolutely nothing to do with the person who has transgressed against you. In fact, forgiveness is really only for you. There are cases and such that you can forgive folks and they not even know it. You don't have to have a conversation with them. And in some situations, you can't talk to them. Either they are deceased or it would be really unlikely to reach out to that person, or it would just be too toxic to have that conversation. So forgiveness can occur all by yourself. You don't need no company for that. But here's the thing though. I think, instead of believing that old cliche that says forgive and forget. No, that's the biggest bald-faced lie I've ever heard. You do not forget when you have been betrayed, or someone has lied to you, or someone's been deceitful. You will not forget the level of pain that someone inflicted upon you. In fact, in many cases, I just don't think you want to forget, actually, only because when you forget that kind of pain, or you forget the source of your pain, you're not in a position to influence the fact that it will not happen again. So I don't mean remember it to the point that you continue to be angry about it. But what I mean is remember it enough so that you know what not to do so you don't get hurt again. So case in point, we tell children all the time growing up, don't touch the stove. Why? Because we know the stove is hot, but they don't know that. So in enters the kid, touches the stove, gets burned, and now they know what? The stove is hot. So they will, the next time they see the stove, remember, don't touch the stove because the stove is hot. They have remembered the source of their pain, which will limit the capacity that they will be hurt in the same way again. You and I are very much the same way. If you remember the stove is hot, you're going to avoid the stove. You will not touch the stove, so you won't get hurt again in the same way. Now, with forgiveness, there's lots of definitions, but the one that I really love, it's not even mine, y'all. It's borrowed, but I repeat it over and over and over again because I just love it. So here it is. It's nothing about forgiving and forgetting. I told you that's a bald-faced lie. The truth of the matter is true forgiveness is all about remembering though, but remembering differently. So forgiveness is all about remembering with mercy and not with malice. Remembering with mercy and not with malice. Now remember, mercy is what I extend to someone that they really don't deserve. So I'm not saying in any way that because I forgive you that I am co-signing or saying your bad behavior has now been excused. Absolutely not. It's not excused at all. In fact, my forgiveness has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with actually what you did to me. It's really just for me. You see, when I am so angry, because that's at the other side of this, when I am so angry and I'm full of malice, every time you walk in a room, that warm feeling goes from the tip of my toes all the way up through my stomach and to my face. I turn red hot on the inside, honey. It is 20 degrees outside, but you hot as a firecracker because this person who hurt you showed up in the room. Or maybe they didn't even show up. Maybe you just remembered. We can have the same visceral reactions to people who have hurt us as when they're in our presence or when they're in our mind, because the body really doesn't know the difference. The mind believes it the same way. If I see you or I think about you, you are in my space, so I feel some kind of way. Now, here's the thing. If you have truly forgiven and you subscribe to the definition that I just shared with you of forgiveness, where it is remembering with mercy and not with malice, when said person shows up in the place, when you think of them, that sense of heat, that hot feeling of anger will not show its ugly head. Instead, mercy will prevail and you will think of them in a different way. Perhaps you'll realize that they are human and they have issues and they need some help. I don't know what pain was inflicted upon you, but what I know for sure is that hurt people hurt people. And whoever you're dealing with in your life, if they've been hurt on any way of their life in their lifetime, they are likely to hurt other people. Does it make it okay? Absolutely not. Is it an explanation? Perhaps it is, but not an excuse. It is not an excuse. It may only be a possible explanation. So when I'm asking you to consider, how do you extend mercy? Folks are like, Dr. Shana, you don't know what they did to me. There is no way on this planet that I can extend mercy to someone who did that level of hurt and pain maliciously to me or even the people that I love. But here's the thing that happens when you harbor that level of anger, when you hold on to something that's so just negative and ugly, it only has one way to go: against you. See, the person you mad at, they done slept real good last night. In fact, they don't even know you still mad at them because they done went on about their life because they probably really unconcerned and may not even care. Now, there are times in this world that if you were to present your issue to a said person, that maybe they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. And I'm all about being honest and asserting yourself and telling folks what your thoughts are. But there are people in this world who just are really self-centered and self-absorbed, and they don't care nothing about the fact they didn't hurt you. So to talk to them and try to make some sense out of what happened would only cause you to be re-injured even more. So perhaps that's not the best idea in some cases. So instead, find a way to extend mercy. They're human and they're hurt. Now, it does not mean because I forgive you that I now give you a license to then mistreat me again, because the fact that I forgave you does not equate a license at all for you to hurt me anymore. Instead, I have eyes wide open. I'm not sitting here with my eyes closed at all because I know and I see you for exactly who you are. And because of that, I can now handle you in a different way. But this way of handling you is not out of anger at all. It's out of knowing. It's out of acknowledgement of the reality of who you are and what happens when you are in my private, personal, vulnerable space. Because it is your job to protect yourself. It is completely and totally up to you for who you allow in that space close enough to hurt you. You've heard me say before, if you've listened to any of my talks, about the fact that your front row, the people that close to you, have point blank range to you, and you must be very careful who you give that kind of access. And if I know that you are one that has hurt me, not once, not twice, but perhaps 3 or 4 times, and I continue to work to forgive you for those things, and I allow you to continue to hurt me in that way, that, my friend, is now on you. Because they showed you who they were at the very beginning of this thing, because they did the thing that they do that probably probably best served them and didn't serve you at all. See, believe people when they show you who they are is all I'm saying. Sometimes we squint and close our eyes and we want to make somebody else because it's what would make us feel better, but that's not who they are. See, part of my role of and my task of really forgiving and being able to move forward is accepting you for who you are and also who you are not. See, I don't have the power nor the capacity to make you somebody different than who you are, nor do I have the capacity or the power to change the circumstances of your life that have led you to a place of being hurt. Therefore, you inflict hurt and pain on other people, namely me. Yeah, I don't get to do any of those things outside of accepting you for who you are. When I'm able to do that, I can extend the mercy that I need to extend in order to free myself. See, the forgiveness I have for you really is freeing for me, because that anger binds me up, and that anger I cannot work through. I don't get to my next breakthrough if I'm still mad at you. Yeah, you may have done me wrong. And yeah, you know what? It may have been the most unthinkable thing that you could have ever done. But what I promise you, family, is if you find a way to remember with mercy and not with malice, you will be lighter. You will be much more pleasant. Anger will dissipate, and you are free to move about the cabin. You are free to do things that actually are meaningful to you and not to be held back by that kind of anger. Anger can be a debilitating emotion if not handled correctly. It can. It has its place. And I'm not saying you don't have a right to be upset if someone wronged you. But what you do with that anger makes all the difference in the world. You can choose to hold on to it. You can then reposition it, or you can let it go. You get to decide. But what I'm encouraging you to do is allow forgiveness to prevail in order for you to be free in your own emotional space to be the best version of you. You see, when I hold anger and I harbor it against somebody else, then they hold control over me in that space. And what I refuse to do, family, is to let somebody have control over my emotional self or my feeling, and they ain't bothered about me not none. Why would you do that? There is 100% of zero logic in that at all. So what I'm encouraging you to do is to remember not to allow it to happen. So as we embark upon another day, if there are folks who wronged you today, or maybe they wronged you a week ago, or maybe they wronged you 50 years ago, it doesn't really matter. There is no statute of limitations, y'all, on forgiveness. Some folks say, well, it happened a long time ago, so I just stop thinking about it. Stop thinking about it doesn't make it go away. As soon as it comes up, you get that warm feeling, you realize you have not actually forgiven. I'm encouraging you to even write a letter to the person. Could be a non-dominant hand letter. I talked to you about that before. There's a lot of power in writing or journaling with your non-dominant hand. It's chicken scratch, and that's okay, but write what it is you want to say to them. Write whatever they did to you. You hurt me. You made me feel this way, or I felt like this, or I'm really distraught because of it. But at the end of it, write your resolution. Whatever your conclusion is you want to be. I want to forgive you. I will forgive you. I want to move on. I want to press on with my life. Whatever outcome you're hoping for, write that at the end. Then get up and rip that paper up and throw it in the trash. Let that be your symbolic closure to yourself, because you are saying, I want to be free of that. You will not hold power over me. So as always, when I close these talks with you in the morning, I want you to reflect upon the affirmation, today I decide. Today I decide to forgive all those that need to be forgiven in this day, so that I am free to move about the cabin and be the best version of myself. Today, perhaps the one I need to forgive is me. Now I'm about to get real messy, family, because sometimes we're quick to think about what everybody else does on the outside of us. But there are times when we need to learn to forgive ourselves. You see, we can, and many times it's easier to maybe even extend that kind of forgiveness to other people, but we hold ourselves to such a higher standard that we get mad at ourselves and will berate ourselves for the things. Well, how could you do that? That was just dumb or stupid, or why would you? We will talk to ourselves in such a negative, ugly way, and not give ourselves a room and space to be human, to make mistakes, to really have a regret about something perhaps, but then figure out a way to handle it. But instead, we don't forgive. forgive ourselves. I'm encouraging you to think about what is it perhaps that you need to forgive you for right now today. A choice you made, a decision you made, something that you did or didn't do, and you became angry at yourself. The definition remains, family, remembering with mercy and not with malice. Give yourself the thing that you really don't deserve, but you really need to be able to move on and move forward with your life. So, forgive or not to forgive? That is the question. Today, I decide to forgive all those who I need to forgive in order for me to live my best life. Remembering that could be you or that could be somebody else, but forgiveness is key. It is key. It is a cornerstone, actually, to living the best life possible. Y'all, I am always rooting for you. I am your biggest fan. I promise you. I want you to have an amazingly, amazingly wonderful, productive, super duper kind of day. Remember, your next transformation is actually only one decision away. Make it a great one and just decide to forgive. Comment below, share this video in whatever medium you're listening to it. Please give me some feedback. I want to hear from you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel to make sure you always have access to the latest videos that I post just for you to inspire and motivate you for yet one more day. I'm wishing you well, family, and hoping that you have an amazing, amazing day. I'll see you next time.